from the shadows of the National Palace.
Subscribe all the way to the muddy trenches of politics. This is the Pigsty, the pig pen of politics, with Chen Morano.
How are you, my dear residents of this fascinating yet foul sewer, known as Mexican politics? Welcome back to the Pigsty, the political pig pen. The only place we don't hold our noses to stir up mud. I'm Chen Morano, and today the pig pen is full of filth, the kind we love, splashing everywhere, even reaching the chandeliers in the National Palace. Put on your rubber boots today, January 29, 2026. Reality surpasses parody, and the cynics are having a party. Let's get started. Stop everything. Bring out the violins, the plush hearts, and the confetti, Lorginda, because we're starting with the romance of the century. It turns out that our brand new president, Claudia Sheinbaum, and everyone's favorite orange guy, Donald Trump, have had a wonderful conversation, according to both of them. No, really, these two already seem like they're straight out of a low-budget romantic comedy. Just a few months ago, Uncle Sam was threatening us with tariffs just for breathing, and with sending drones to look for spare change in our pockets. But oh, the miracle of paperwork! After a phone call, Trump, that man known for his subtle handling of the truth and his complete lack of narcissism, wrote on his social network that Claudia is a smart and wonderful leader. I quote directly, "Soon we will talk again, and ultimately, we will schedule meetings in our respective countries. Mexico has a wonderful and intelligent leader. You should be very happy about that," President Donald J. Trump added. Translation from Trumpist language to common Spanish. He promised me that he will deploy the National Guard to sweep the border with a toothbrush if necessary, and that he will continue to obey everything I tell him. The leaders spoke a day after the Secretary of Economy, the jack of all trades, Marcelo Ebrard, met with the head of the United States Trade Office, Jameson Greer, in Washington. They agreed to begin formal talks on possible reforms to the business agreement between the United States, Mexico, and Canada. The well-known United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement Treaty took effect in 2020. The three countries must begin a joint review of the trade pact before July 1st. On its 6th anniversary, to confirm their intention to renew it for a period of 16 years or make modifications. This is the second conversation that both leaders have had in the last month, following the Americans' threat of attacks on Mexican drug cartels, and at the beginning of the review of the Mexico, United States, and Canada Treaty, scheduled for this year. Chachi says they discussed the border and trade. How revealing. I was expecting that Trump would probably ask her for the tlacoyos recipe, and she would ask him for tips on how to use hair gel in humid weather. The truth is, they want to sell us this detente as a great diplomatic triumph, when we all know that as soon as Donald needs to calm things down in his own territory, he's going to use us as a punching bag again. They're already preparing for in-person meetings in the White House garden. Exciting. In his press conference to fool idiots from the National Palace, the lady said it was a cordial call, which lasted about 40 minutes and during which they discussed economic issues. Sheinbaum said that there has been quite a bit of progress in the TMEC negotiations, but they still can't share much more. He said there are positive signals from the United States to advance the trade agreement with Mexico, such as the recognition that our country has the best agreement in the world with the northern country. I'm quoting directly about the trade agreement. Yesterday, there was a publication from the ambassador about their interest in increasing the rules of origin. He mentioned that in some other areas, not just the automotive sector. They mentioned it to Marcelo, who could come next week to provide more details about the conversations. But we're making quite good progress. There's still nothing concrete yet, but things are moving along very well, said Chachis. Claudia Baum thanked President Donald Trump for the message he wrote on his social media, in which he praised the Mexican leader after the phone call they had on Thursday morning to talk about trade and security issues. Someone's not gonna like this, she joked. Or at least that's what she thought. after just minutes before she complained that opposition political actors assess if Sheinbaum's relationship with Trump is good or bad. La Chacha del Bienestar said that Trump invited her to the United States, but that there is no specific date for that possible trip. Yes, he invited me to the United States, but we didn't set a date. We've had this agreement since I visited Washington, and we agreed to keep calling each other to, well, follow up on the meetings that our teams are having, she explained. He also stated he conveyed Mexico's stance to keep the trade deal with Canada and the United States. He said Trump restated his stance on that country, which he has threatened with 100% tariffs. Differences remain after Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney's statements at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. However, Chachas preferred not to talk further in her conference about the relationship between Canada and the United States, but she mentioned that she might soon have a phone conversation with the Prime Minister, Carney. I wouldn't want to talk about that subject. I mean, if the topic of Canada was discussed, what Trump has mentioned publicly, he also mentioned to us over the phone. We are always very respectful with Minister Carney. We appreciate him a lot. We respect him a lot. And our interest is that the trade agreement with the three countries is maintained, and we will always express that. Let's leave it at that for now. More information will be provided later. We have a very good relationship with Canada, and of course we can have the call with Minister Carney soon. It's not scheduled yet, but we spoke recently and plan to have a call with him soon, said Ms. Doña. On the other hand, when asked about the issue of Cuba, as well as the oil that Mexico used to deliver to the island, the president denied that it was mentioned in the conversation with Trump. Conversation with this judge, January 29, 2026, second meeting. First was on the 12th. Claudia and Trump have had 12 phone conversations and only one meeting in person. But here comes the spiteful comment from this filthy pig who likes to stir up trouble. Because everything looks good, flowers everywhere, everyone is respectful. But what the hell? But it turns out that what neither of these two characters is saying is what happened yesterday. It turns out that our maid scientist turned pale during yesterday's morning conference. She lost all color. Don't just take my word. Look at the image I'll share and play the video, Luis Berman.
Yesterday, around 1 in the afternoon, 2 vehicles with diplomatic license plates left here from the National Palace. Let's see if he had a meeting with someone from the diplomatic corps or with any ambassador.
Yes. Yes, I had a meeting.
With whom, Presidenta, already?
The Chancellor was here too.
Which ambassador did she meet with?
I'll let you know soon.
It has to do with the United States issue?
I'll let you know soon.
There's Claudia, Doctor the Scientist. But pay close attention to the body language, because that's what doesn't lie when they ask her about those cars with diplomatic plates parked outside the Scandinavian Airlines System Palace. Her body relaxed. I even think she let out a fart, because that little smile isn't from happiness. It's more like, I wish the earth would swallow me. They caught me, in the act. You can see the cold sweat. Don't say it's just Mexico City's heat. That's pure panic and awkward silence, since she mentions a meeting but not with whom. What transparency? Who pulled the chain? Now we're entering the theories we love in this pigsty. Why the fear? Big Don sent a message. Trump already sent word asking how things are going to be now that he's in charge. Why that embarrassed look? You only make that face when someone scolds you. About the Canadian guy, they just caught a big fish from Canada on Mexican soil. It was the FBI, not our super police. He didn't mention Cuba today. They came to pull his ears. It's beautiful to see how their little act of sovereignty falls apart. When the bosses from outside come to demand answers, their bravery disappears in a second. In other news, while in the center of the country we toast with atole for international love, in Sinaloa, reality slaps us in the face with a taste of lead. On January 28th, the deputies from Movimiento Ciudadano, Sergio Torres Felix, and Elizabeth Montoya Ojeda, discovered that in Culiacan, phospho doesn't mix well with the red of blood. They suffered an attack in broad daylight, Because, of course, what is politics in Sinaloa without a little high-caliber fireworks? The National Security Cabinet says it is already in control. Oh, I'm so scared. I'm sure the criminals are trembling under their beds now, while the officials send out a tweet strongly condemning the events. It's a sight to see all the political parties tearing their clothes, Movimiento Ciudadano shouting for justice, Morena saying it's a legacy from the past. And what about Institutional Revolutionary Party National Action Party? Well, they're still looking for their dignity at the bottom of a barrel. The reality is that Sinaloa is no longer a state. It's a shooting range where politicians are just cardboard silhouettes. Regional stability? That went on vacation years ago and never left a return address. To cap off this day of rewarded incompetence, let's discuss the Interoceanic train. You remember that derailment that left several dead and injured, right? Well, the report is out in surprise. It wasn't sabotage by conservatives, nor a meteorite, nor the fault of the waxing crescent moon. It turns out that Mrs. Ernestina says the train was speeding. Wow, who would have guessed a flagship project was rushed through by Bodoc, Beanastar, and their corrupt friends? With a budget scribbled on napkins, it would have operators with expired licenses and a desire to play Fast and Furious. The president, displaying her usual calm, confirmed there were operational errors. Don't tell me what insight this government has. Now they claim they'll fully compensate for the damage. Translation: they're going to give them a food basket, a pat on the back, and ask them not to vote for the opposition. In 2027, that's their trademark. 90% loyalty, 10% ability, and 0% restraint. Well, my dear brothers, in this mess, we have a president who charms Trump. Some congressmen can't go out on the street without a titanium bulletproof vest, and a train that runs faster than the logic of its directors. There you have her. The defender of the homeland is a bundle of nerves because she doesn't know how to explain that they came to visit her with all their diplomatic cars, and that others are the ones in charge in her palace. Lovely neighborhood. And you, what do you say, pigs? Was it fear, or did the morning tlacoyo just not sit well with her? Leave it in the comments, give it a like, subscribe, and share, because things are about to get muddier. I'm gonna wash my hands because just saying this makes me feel like I've grown mold. Stay tuned to La Pochilga, the pigsty of politics, where the truth not only hurts, but also smells like a clogged drain. I'm Che Morano, and I'll see you in the next Mudfest. Goodbye,
This is La Pochilga, the pigsty of politics with Che Morano.